Hi everyone, my name is Giovanna Proença, and today we're going to talk about problem set 0 tip calculator of CS50 Introduction to Programming with Python. So if you have any question about programming, regardless of solving a problem or if you need any orientation in your career, schedule a free meeting with us. The link's in the description. Alright? So before we start, I would like to emphasize that this solution is made for those who have already completed the assignment and want to have another view on the solution. Alright? We discourage any act of plagiarism. Alright? So let's see this first problem. In the United States, it's customary to leave a tip for your server after dining in a restaurant, typically an amount equal to 15% or more of your meal's cost. Not to worry though, we've written a tip calculator for you below. So here they already gave to us some lines of code that we're gonna reuse in our problem. Alright, so let's take a look at what we have in here basically. So in our main function, we have a variable called dollars, and this dollars is calling a function called $to_float, and this $to_float we're going to implement, like we can see here the to do. And basically the $to_float, the argument is an input asking how much was the meal. Okay, and then we have another variable called %, and we are storing this % variable the result of a function called %to_float, and we're going to implement this function as well. And what is the argument? We're passing the answer of the user about the question, what percentage would you like to tip? Okay, once we have the value of dollars and %, the tip will be calculated doing a multiplication between them, and then we're going to print how much will be the tip. Okay, so let's see the implementation. Well, we've written most of a tip calculator for you. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to implement two functions. So the first function we're gonna work is $to_float, which should accept a string as input, format as $, two numbers, dot two other numbers, so two decimal places, wherein each hash is a decimal digit. Remove the leading $, and return the amount as a float. For instance, given $50 as input, it should return 50.0. Alright, and the %to_float, which accept a string as input, format as 2 digits %, remove the trailing % and return the percentage as a float. For instance, given 50% as input, it should return 0.15. So basically in these two functions, we're gonna receive strings and we have to convert these strings into a float, doing some changes depending on the case. Alright, so let's start taking a look here in our code. So like I said, I just copy and paste here the distribution code they gave. Alright, this is what we have to do in the beginning, and we're gonna start working with the $to_float. So here we are receiving an argument, and this argument is a string asking us how much was the meal. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to remove the $. Okay, so do you see here that we're gonna receive here as input a $. We're gonna receive, for example, $50. So the first thing we have to do here is replace this $, to nothing. We have to remove this $. So how are we gonna do this? Before we start, let's see this replace method. The replace method replaces a specified phrase with another specified phrase. If we will have a variable txt equals to I like bananas and we want to change bananas to apple, we can use the replace method to make this change for us. We can do txt.replace, and inside the parentheses we put the word that we want to change, in our case bananas, with the new word that we want to replace, in our case apples, and our string txt will become I like apples. So now that we understood how the replace method works, we're going to use this in here, okay? So the first thing we have to do is we have to remove this $, and we can remove the $, using the replace method. So we're gonna create a new variable. I'm gonna call the name of the variable D without $. So this way you can understand basically what we're gonna do, okay? And here we're gonna use D, the name of the variable. This is the name of the variable we want to replace, and we're gonna use the replace method. In the case that we saw in the animation, we want to replace bananas to apples. In our case, we want to replace the $, to nothing. So we're gonna create an empty space. How can we do this? So the first argument here it's a dollar sign, so this is what we want to replace, and this is what we want to replace to. Okay, so we're gonna remove the dollar sign doing this, and then we just have to return the number as a float. Okay, but this replace